Alrighty, alrighty. Hopefully, audio's fine. Audio test 1, 2, 3. Audio test. Okay. Alrighty, back looking at numbers, lines, rectangles, charts, graphs, things that go up and down over time, price, and also action here on the EngineeringRobo channel. Bitcoin on the screen, the fear and greed index here suggesting a time to be potentially buying Bitcoin with a longer term uptrend in mind, though in the short term here, at the moment, we do see some confirmations that need to be met for us to really solidify a potential bottom. We're far closer to a bottom than a top, in my opinion. Any continued moves to the downside, I do believe, will be rather short-lived, relatively. Perhaps one flash crash to wreck everyone accumulating currently, but right now, based on the fear zone here, buying Bitcoin under like 40,000 US dollars seems to be a potential bullish buying opportunity. Well, I do apologize if image quality perhaps suffers during the stream. I am streaming from a laptop over Wi-Fi, though I am told that the quality of the picture does have a lot to do with your end, apparently, the client's end. That kind of has to do with the device you're viewing from and your internet connection as well. Though I will admit I am on a laptop on Wi-Fi. So that is less than ideal. And if it does become a problem on my end, I can rectify that by going back to the desktop I was using previously. But yeah, I do apologize for any sort of audio or image mishaps that might occur. Please let me know if they continue. But Bitcoin here in the fear zone, accumulate here during times of extreme fear. The third time we've seen the fear zone ever since all-time highs back in 2017. We entered the FOMO zone throughout November there of that year, traded upward over 130% before eventually finding a top, printing that sort of like $19,700 all-time high that we've currently returned to at the moment. Following that all-time high FOMO zone interaction, an 84% correction occurred, bringing Bitcoin at the time from that 19,000 something dollar level all the way down to near $3,000 there before finding a bottom, entering the fear zone relative to this area here. November of 2018, it entered the fear zone, experienced a 45% move to the downside, and then spent over 170 days relatively sideways during this phase of accumulation before trading upward above the fear zone, returning to it, printing again that 45% correction relative to entering the fear zone here, 45% in downside, though we only traded within it for just over a month. Two fear zone interactions following that FOMO zone correction. All-time highs broken throughout 2020 there. Funnily enough, this second fear zone interaction, March of 2020, was, I do believe, the cough crash of the economy. And then it's been just kind of like skyrocketing ever since there. But all-time highs broken toward the end of 2020. Got into like the Elon Musk phase. He doubled it from 30, got into 60. We set these crazy all-time highs in the high $60,000 range, getting to like 69 nice $1,000 per Bitcoin, though nowhere near the FOMO zone. Now the FOMO zone's still up there near pretty much $200,000 per Bitcoin. A far more reasonable area where you can more comfortably and confidently take profit, capitalize on your upside, accumulating here during times of extreme fear. FOMO zone isn't until like 200K. So we got like a 10x from current prices, 20K to 200 roughly, math. But at the moment, after setting that 69 nice $1,000 all-time high, an 84% correction, if we were to consider that relative to the previous just all-time high that occurred in 2017, an 84% correction would bring the Bitcoin all the way down to $10,700 roughly. So like a $10,000 Bitcoin would present itself if an 84% correction were to come to fruition, though the 45% in downside that occurred twice previously when we entered the fear zone here throughout 2019 and 2020 briefly, the 45% correction has pretty much already occurred. So if that were to hold and stay in play, then we've technically already bottomed perfectly with the 2017 all-time high. While an 84% correction is something to keep in mind, a $10,000 Bitcoin presenting itself would not be impossible. It would be the ultimate buying opportunity, in my opinion, a very, very bullish price to be accumulating Bitcoin with a long-term uptrend in mind. Though at the moment here, the 45% correction has already come to fruition. So holding sideways along this key level is nice to see. Hopefully we can still. And while I don't think the 84% correction is as likely, is because we haven't seen that FOMO zone, and we've printed multiple all-time highs in this brand new range over like a year here, a very different time for Bitcoin to be at an all-time high rather than 2017 where they came up and then came right back down. So technically Bitcoin trading sideways, if you consider this whole entire range, we've been sideways ever since December of 2020, going up and then going down, though at the moment here, near some very key levels with some very particular, technical parameters coming to fruition. These corrections, these ranges of sideways so far, a few more weeks left before we've considered the 170 plus days in sideways needed to compare this to the first fear zone interaction back here, though at the moment, extreme volatility, nobody really knows where we're going to go. Really. But we go with the flow of crypto, watching out for our robos here. Accumulating in the long term, in my opinion, I find it very difficult to be bearish on Bitcoin. If you look back in previous videos, all through the upside, the downside, the sideways, I find it very difficult to be, bearish on Bitcoin downside. And the more short-term fearful that people become, I do believe that's when you want to be accumulating on the long term here. When Bitcoin went from 20K to 3K, I'm sure that was a dramatic time. I don't vividly remember it, in my opinion, personally, but that was quite the particular time in the economy. But I mean, buying a $3,000 Bitcoin, I'm sure many would heavily prefer to be, seeing as we're still near 20K. Imagine going from 69, nice, and then going to like 20K, and then being like, oh no, we're done, it's going to zero. Bitcoin was like not even $1 at one point, like 6 cents, I'm pretty sure. It's the BLX chart. I can tell you how much it was actually. So Bitcoin at one point was 1 cent, October of 2010. A 1 cent Bitcoin, no big deal. 20K, watch out. We're done. We're crashing. It's all over now. Oh no. Yeah, I don't know. Going with the flow, of crypto here. A very different time for everybody. Every time that this occurs, this is a very new time. This has been around for like 10 plus years now, and still nobody really knows what it is. But just keep in mind that $10,000 Bitcoin that may present itself. Be sure to have some capital set aside to accumulate during that time if that price presents itself, if it does. But if it doesn't, be sure to be accumulating in general, in my opinion. But this has been the fear and FOMO zones here. Some technical levels to consider, though, when we go back to regular charts. Watch out. Hold on. Swapping around. Robos and things. Don't worry about it. Uno. Momento. Yeah, no, you see my laptop. It's not too fond of all these things on the screen. So yes, I do hope the picture quality is tolerable. I do hope the audio is transmitting well. Yeah, my laptop is definitely a entirely different ordeal. Okay, Bitcoin currently back at support. Water. The odds here, $18,860 per Bitcoin. Still horizontal level to consider as potential support here for us at the moment. Bullish interactions with it all throughout June into July of this year. Another bullish bounce off it would be nice to see. We saw an excessive move to the upside after interacting with it throughout the beginning of September here. Bullish Robos coming into play through that move to the upside. So, you were considering, jumping into Bitcoin based on that confirmation, as price action could have very much continued upward here, though during times of extreme volatility, high manipulation is present in the market. And if you've been trading, perhaps you might notice or feel like if you're a stop loss trader, you've been feeling like your stop losses have been like hunted or whatnot. I've heard from others that I've spoken with that the market would go against them, hit their stop loss, exit the trade, they take a loss, and then the market would continue in the direction that the trade was created for. So, extreme volatility, watch out for whales. There is always a bigger fish, no matter how much capital you might think you have. But got to go with the flows. Good thing we have our Robos. Watch out for continued interaction with horizontal level here locally, though $17,176 visualized. It's a swing high printed back near 2017 as well. Psychological level to consider, though a technical level more significant, perhaps $16,188 per Bitcoin. We can visualize more down below as we go. But lots going on here. If this daily candle were to close, confirming this HE double hockey stick, heck, opposite of moon, can't even pronounce it here on YouTube. I don't even think because it's a YouTube. But you can see two of our chosen three Robo advisors coming into play here. Only if this daily candle closes with this sell suggestion, then you can, you're going to have to perhaps consider reducing your Bitcoin investments accordingly. Your trades, rather, always be accumulating Bitcoin, in my opinion, though any sort of perhaps like short-term trades here that you anticipated, making its way through the 20s, perhaps getting to 30K. If so, suggestions were to return here, watch out for the low teens, perhaps that $10,000 level. Bearish Robo advisors during the the downside here following all-time highs met back in November of 2021. These bearish robos have seen 45 and 58% corrections following their confirmation. And so, I mean, what are the odds if we were to experience like a 50% correction from bearish confirmations? That would also bring us, actually, that would bring us past a $10,000 Bitcoin, but it would bring us close to $10,000 per Bitcoin. Watch out for that if that were to occur. I don't believe we'd be trading down there for any length of time. That would be a very a brief interaction. The last, perhaps final, and most bullish buying opportunity for Bitcoin before we experience very euphoric levels far beyond the 69 nice $1,000 we just came from. But going with the flows with our robos here, we can see a range of sideways attempting to form here, a bottom attempting to form. Everyone's like, oh, nice. And then they all got wrecked. Every time they think it's bottomed, it hasn't. I've noticed Bitcoin likes to pump from local lower lows. Anyone accumulating at a significant level of support seems to get completely wrecked before we continue in the direction anticipated. But bullish robos here during sideways back in 2021, 56 and 42% pumps. So if bullish robos can stay in play or return, if bearish robos are confirmed, we trade sideways, hold along this level, make our way upward. If they return, we can get back in accordingly and then anticipate continued moves to the upside here. Watch out for sideways, though. Any sort of moves to the upside may be met with significant resistance overhead, as we've been seeing, trapping us in this continued range of accumulation over that following, over that 170 plus day period that we just went over. Perhaps when we are free from this solid overhead downtrend line, we can more comfortably and confidently consider, lengthier sort of moves to the upside here. If you're wondering about lower time frames, if you're an advanced user here, I guess we can break into that briefly. So on the daily time frame, though, so we're watching out for these are the main sort of buy and sell suggestions you want to be considering. So if bullish robos are present on the daily chart, you're looking for buy opportunities or longing opportunities on the lower time frames. You're looking for same to similar bullish confirmations from EngineeringRobo if you know daily confirmations are present. Though, if bearish robos are confirmed on the daily time frame, you're watching out for sell suggestions on the lower time frames as well. So let's say this current second bearish robo coming into play here, say that is confirmed, though you zoom in and you see something like this. Technically, today's daily candle has not closed, so we have yet to confirm that second sell suggestion. But if bearish robos were present on the daily chart here, we would use the upside from the lower time frame bullish robos, right? Like you would use the lower time frame bullish robos, like the upside that follows those confirmations. I do believe you would use those as exit pumps or short opportunities as more broad sort of like relative downtrend would be confirmed. That's if bearish robo advisors are present. So if we go back to perhaps if we look through all from April of this year into June of this year here. Bearish Robos in play pretty much that whole time. If we zoom in, we can see several instances of lower time frame bullish confirmations coming into play. Especially during this range of sideways significant accumulation. I find it very difficult to be bearish on Bitcoin. People buying it very heavily at all times, though the price being manipulated downward is something we're all going to have to deal with. But in terms of these lower time frame confirmations, as you can see, the upside following bullish Robos is rather short-lived. I mean, if you were to use them perhaps literally during this instance, you can see Bitcoin increasing by 7.2% over the following day and a half there, $2,100 to the upside. A futures trader could have capitalized on that move, though with the more broad downtrend in play, because bearish daily confirmations are present, this upside would be a very nice shorting opportunity or an exit pump, if you will, an opportunity to get out of the market because bearish daily Robos. You can see sort of similar situations here. You can use pretty much buy suggestions on these lower time frames, the upside after them as exit pumps. And then, as you can see, bearish confirmations toward the end of the consolidation. Price action moves in two phases. It's either trading sideways or it's making an impulse move. So pretty much, as you can see, sideways, impulse move, continuation pattern in that case, sideways, impulse move, another continuation to the downside. It's either a continuation pattern or a reversal pattern when it's trading sideways here, but the two phases are consolidation and impulse moves. And so, as you can see, toward the end of this consolidation here, bearish confirmations on lower time frames coinciding with bearish confirmations on the daily chart as well. You would have been able to sell your Bitcoin investment, save yourself from 39% in downside over the following week. Or if you're a futures trader, a short position would have allowed you to capitalize on an $11,000 move, $11,000 per Bitcoin kind of thing, depending on the magnitude of your short position. But more recently here, as you can see, bullish Robos on these lower time frames during bearish Robos on higher time frames have allowed for really nice shorting opportunities. And so, I mean, in the short term, like immediate, like scalping sort of opportunities here for, very advanced high risk traders capitalizing on this aggressive sideways. But as you can see, bearish Robos on higher time frames does suggest a more broad downtrend present. So watch out for exit opportunities here. But all these buts. Locally, since at this exact moment on the daily chart, this daily candle has not closed. So we do remain technically, if you are invested based on bullish Robos, we can remain invested until daily bearish confirmations. If the 3-hour Robos were to hold here, so we're going to have some very significant sideways along these levels, so much so that we would have to push this daily candle back above the level that's trying to trigger the second bearish Robo. we'd have to hold this 3-hour confirmation for a significant enough amount of time before we can jump right in based on that confirmation, because as you can see, if you were to have jumped right in as soon as 2 of our chosen 3 robos became bullish on a lower time frame, a short-term move to the downside here did occur. So a stop loss would have had to encompass that accordingly. I do hope that wasn't ridiculously overcomplicated. It's definitely different for me to explain it versus kind of like how I know how to go about it. I took the lessons and whatnot and figured out how to do this not that long ago, but like long enough ago for it to be vastly different for perhaps some learning it today. So I do hope that I'm getting the message across here appropriately. Of course, you can find out everything you need to know about EngineeringRobo on the website, links in the description, and all that and whatnot. Using EngineeringRobo on these lower time frames is, as you can see, it's slightly more advanced than spot trading and that kind of whatnot. You're going to have the majority of your success on the daily chart with EngineeringRobo. If you've mastered the daily chart, you can zoom in and start considering the lower time frames. But you have to keep in mind here, these are the lower time frames. We can get even as dramatically as low as the 45-minute chart. You can see during the sideways 45-minute chart getting slapped around. Though we do see an instance where 2 of our chosen 3 robos becoming bullish allowed you to experience 19% in upside over the following 5 days, $3,600 per Bitcoin, before bearish confirmations were met on the 45-minute chart here. With bullish and bearish robo advisors, you would have been able to capitalize on at least 13% ROI, or $2,500 per Bitcoin in a week there. So, and then, if you were to consider a short position following bearish robos, Bitcoin proceeded to experience 10.8% in downside over the following 3 days, or $2,300 per Bitcoin. If you are a leveraged trader, spot traders would have been saved just from that downside. But the lower time frames here are definitely for your scalpers, day traders, swing traders, perhaps your advanced users, in my opinion. But we're going with the flows of our confirmations during this highly volatile situation. Watch out for manipulation. Stop loss hunters are present. Capitalize on gains when you have them. You cannot go broke taking profit if you are in a trade, in a position. You've experienced some upside in a matter of hours or a matter of days. You got some gains there. I take them off the table because, as you can see, upside is rather short-lived in a downtrend. And so we have other factors as well contributing to a broader, more relative, presence of, bearish bias here for us. Bullish in the overall longer-term broad uptrend. 10 years from now, do believe we're going to be very much above current price levels. Next year, who knows? We got to go with our robos. Watching out for this daily candle to close here. If we get back up above, I think it's pretty much near, pretty much where it opened, like back near 19.7, sort of like $20,000 per Bitcoin is where this bearish robo wants to come into play. If we can get back above that price level and hold it, then that lower time frame confirmation could perhaps be more significant, but it would need way more hours of support found near it for us to jump in based on that confirmation, in my opinion. But if this bearish confirmation is confirmed, though, watch out for continued lows. I've found though that everyone getting in from watching lower time frames, I've noticed that anyone getting in at a significant horizontal level is typically wrecked. So it would not be a surprise whatsoever if everybody thinking we go to 10K, everyone buying here near 17, 18, if they all get pranked, we might dip to like a random level that nobody expects and then recover dramatically. Nobody knows where we're going to go. Got to go with the flows of our robos. One moment, please. Okay, so we spent a lot of time talking about Bitcoin, and have a kind of a timer here going that sort of doesn't really kind of limits my window of opportunity relative to my ability to like download the video. So when I make the recaps for these streams, I have to like download it from YouTube, but it won't let me if the video's more than an hour long, and I didn't realize that until I made a stream that was a few minutes past an hour long. Every other stream happened to not surpass that hour mark. It was just short of it. So I'm gonna hopefully going to not wreck myself by going past an hour. Let's quickly power through the usual rotation. Why don't we? XLM, XRP, Litecoin, Cardano, perhaps Ethereum real quick. This is XLM. I think this is the Robo I used. Doodly do. Okay. So our mystical, magical box, if you saw it in our last stream, we had this 10 cent sort of like level here visualized as a support we were hoping to see bullish interaction with, which we so far have been. Prices returning back to resistance overhead though. Watch out for 11 cents here, 0.1185 overhead, giving us a hard time yet again. Prices back above the buy 4 though. One of our chosen 3 robos in a bullish state, though we need a second bullish confirmation to come into play for us to invest accordingly. Yes, I hope the picture quality is continuing to transmit well. It is very much possible that it is my end, 100%. I'm on Wi-Fi and my own laptop at the moment. So yes, that is something to keep in mind. Hopefully it is all right. I did a weird super secret stream on my personal channel yesterday for more than 2 hours to test a whole bunch of things. It seemed to go well, though please let me know if technical issues persist. But anyway, as I mentioned, resistance present. We got that buy 4. We need one more robo though to get in. Bullish robos have seen 10+% in gains here, tens of percentages in gains. Tens of percentages in downside though following bearish confirmations. 50% corrections have occurred. So I mean, if resistance continues to plague us here, right now EngineeringRobo is in a bearish state technically. If resistance continues to give us a hard time and we plow to and through 10 cents, watch out for 8 cents down below waiting for us as potential support, and we have lower levels to consider along the way as well. This solid overhead downtrend line to consider waiting for us. Once we are free from it, you can get in based on that confirmation accordingly. We need daily candles opening and closing above 0.1185 and perhaps bouncing off of it with semi-significance before jumping into it more comfortably and confidently as support, because we do have several instances of like fake outs perhaps occurring above this level. So going for the confirmations during volatile situations. That was XLM. This is XRP. Doodly do and doodly d, switching it around. So I guess real quick, so why we pick 3 robos that best suit our strategy kind of thing is because there's so many of them. They're all going to have their own opinion. And so as you can see, the buy for and moon confirmations have been met ever since the 17th of September there, around 37 cents. Since if you did get in based on that confirmation, you have experienced so far just above 12.5% in upside on your EngineeringRobo based investment ratio as we make our way toward 46 cents overhead, freeing ourselves from this dashed down trend line here locally. Also contributed to the potential for this short-term move to the upside. Though, in my opinion, these are the robos I'm going to consider for XRP. There's a whole lot of talk fundamentally about what's going on for XRP here and what it's doing with like banks and whatnot. So fundamentally, that is a little beyond me, but technically, potential gains here to be to capitalize on. So watch out for, as I mentioned, resistance overhead waiting for us. We do need daily candles opening and closing above it to confirm it as potential support. We do have our second bullish robo for my combination coming into play here. The golden cross attempting to confirm with today's daily candle. Watch out for a potential short-term move below it following its confirmation relative to the most recent time we've seen it here locally. Though once confirmed, I believe that would be, in my opinion, a more bullish confirmation for me to invest my 50% EngineeringRobo based investment ratio. I'll wait to find support above 46 cents. If you failed to get in back in July here, technically, we've been updating XRP on the channel very often. And back then, since this is just a dotted horizontal level, after this bullish interaction with it in June, I was suggesting waiting to return to this level before jumping in accordingly. And technically, you've been able to get in ever since July of this year here at 30 cents down below. 25 cents was the horizontal level, more significant level to consider during that whole time. But right now, we are making our way toward that overhead resistance. We can hopefully get above it and make some more confirmations. That local dashed down trend line here, where you can use at your own discretion to invest your 30% down trend line based investment ratio. I'm going to wait for this solid down trend line overhead there. Whenever we get to it, we may get to it perhaps sooner than anticipated, but at the moment it will be significant resistance waiting for us once we do get there. Litecoin in a bit of a situation. Let's rotate our robos. Okay, I believe this was the confirmation we used for Litecoin. So super buy for and moon confirmations coming into play in a swing high kind of thing, less than ideal. Short-term downside followed those confirmations. As you can see, 21% in downside in the short term, though we did experience 11.5% to the upside eventually following bullish confirmations before bearish robos returned very recently. Bullish robos coming back into play, suggesting a buy opportunity for Litecoin, though significant resistance present. We needed further confirmations of this $60.47 level. We were hypothesizing continued interaction with this dashed local downtrend line here. Several other factors contributed to a move downward after bullish robos, especially when that just happened more recently. As we can see here, during this short-term downside, the sell 4 has printed If a second Robo were to enter a bearish state, you are suggested to reduce your Litecoin positions accordingly and anticipate a more bullish buy opportunity to present itself. Support down below $42, which we haven't seen since June, and we have lower levels to consider when necessary. Resistance overhead to watch out for, waiting for us as well once we do finally recover. But Litecoin in a bit of a situation, trading sideways at the moment. Watch out for bearish confirmations. CAR and also Dono. Swap it out here slightly. It's downtrends unsightly. But yeah, dramatic moves to the downside pretty much ever since, as we can see, July of 2021 to September of that year, 150% in gains following bullish confirmations. EngineeringRobo members doubling and a half their money on Cardano, and then saved from 67, 28, and 45% corrections over the following months here, ever since making that swing high. Right now, bullish Robos fighting to come into play, people buying Cardano all along the way down here, though unfortunately, bearish confirmations continuing to return toward the end of consolidation. So watch out for that. EngineeringRobo has been in a bearish state based on these Robo advisors ever since the 26th of August, around 43 cents there. So you haven't been eager to jump into Cardano. At the moment, newly visualized support level at 46 cents was where you were suggested to consider your 20% support-based investment ratio, as this level does meet confirmations on higher time frames, even though we just formed it relatively recently. But if resistance is confirmed, we can reduce our positions accordingly. That's why we only invest 20% at support. Lower levels to consider in any sort of moves to the downside, 34 cents waiting for us. The super sell has returned. Watch out for that sell 4. And the bearish cross is still in play. Several factors contributing to continued moves downward for Cardano. Fundamentally, who knows what's going on? Technically, slightly less than ideal. We have bounced off of like 40 cents here. Let's say we mystically, magically visualize a box of rocks and smelly socks. You can look at 40 to 41 cents potentially as a magical zone we bounce off of. Hopefully we can get ourselves back above 46 cents, though, to become more confidently short-term bullish on Cardano. And then I think we can perfectly finish this off with Ethereum, depending on how much time we have. Anyway, Ethereum. These are not the Robos I want. So you can see, you've probably noticed a trend with the combination of Robos that I personally prefer to use. You pick 3 that best suit your strategy. Once 2 of your chosen 3 Robos enter a bullish or bearish state, you can get in or out of the market accordingly. And so you can see the buy 4 is present a lot. Moon comes into play a lot. I like the golden cross sometimes. But I will switch it up when necessary, depending on the asset. During this bear market, though, however, these are the Robos that I find that have the most significance during this time, and allow for perhaps the most success during these market conditions, in my opinion, based on my going-ons. But anyway, Ethereum returning to a bearish state here locally. Never fear, though. You've been reducing your positions accordingly. Bullish Robos back in July allowed EngineeringRobo members to experience 49% in upside on their Ethereum investment, and were able to capitalize on anywhere from 18 to 25% ROI with bullish and bearish Robo advisors coming into play here over these most recent months. Significant bearish confirmations, though, ever since the 15th of September, sending Ethereum to and through support levels. Watch out for continued interaction downward here along our dashed downtrend line. This mystical magical box that we visualized here, potentially $1,200, give or take, like $60 per Ethereum, is where you can hope to see potential support found, though closer to $1,000 is where our technical horizontal level is waiting for us. That supercell and sell 4 combination with that HE double hockey sticks still in play from over a month ago is not that ideal for Ethereum here, and could suggest prolonged sideways or downside for us moving forward. We need bullish robos to return for us to begin getting back in. Bullish confirmations from this combination of robo advisors have allowed EngineeringRobo members to experience 79 and 36% moves to the upside here. Last year, we even see 141% in gains as well, though bearish confirmations have seen 45 and 70% corrections that have occurred. A 45 or 70% correction from current price levels would bring us to a $735 Ethereum roughly. That would be 45%, but 70% would bring us to like $400, which would be a bullish buy opportunity, in my opinion, if you're looking at it with a longer term uptrend in mind. Right now, this is a very highly volatile, risky time for everything, all economies, all assets. I wanted to get into the indexes here, but I do believe we have to wrap it up. Watch out for the DXY, an inverse correlation with things. This is pretty much like the American dollar value. The more the American dollar goes up here, the more this chart goes up, the more everything else goes down. As you can see, November of 2021, bullish robos coming into play, July of 2021 for EngineeringRobo members. But if you consider the 69,000 nice Bitcoin all-time high in November of 2021, this is what the DXY looked like. And then, as you can see, we've been trading downward ever since, as the DXY has been trading upward. So hopefully the US dollar can figure itself out, get the heck out of here, keep going down, so Bitcoin can go up, if you know what I mean. But anyway, that has been crypto and currency with EngineeringRobo here currently. Let's, I don't know, hyper plow through some indexes. S&P back at support. Bearish robos in play still. Watch out for continued moves to the downside. Dow Jones, sell 4 attempting to return. Support present, 29,373. Look out for that. Bearish robos have been in play ever since February. So watch out for that downtrend line as well. NASDAQ, downtrend line overhead giving us a hard time. Bullish robos in play though. Bearish confirmations may be pending. Gold falling through support. Bearish robos in play since May. So you haven't been eager to jump into gold. This is platinum bouncing off support down below. Bearish robos confirmed though. Palladium floating in between some key levels with bearish robos in play. Silver at resistance with bearish robos in play. Natural gas apparently at resistance, trying to figure itself out with its robos. Copper continuing to interact with the 200 weekly moving average. Visualize that for 2 seconds here. It's on the 200 weekly moving average at the moment, though 2.97 down below support. Bearish robos in play. Uranium, that's uranium. Corn sideways. Downtrend line overhead. Bearish robos to consider. Sugar coming from resistance overhead. Bearish robos just confirmed. Cotton bearish robos in mind ever since June. Watch out for continued moves toward potential support. But that was the speed round of everything. We got some commodities and some indexes. I think indices. I don't know, whatever that is. But thank you so much for tuning in. We keep it primarily crypto, though we can go over any and everything, anything that anybody wants to see, even traditional currencies, stocks, commodities, any everything. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of the stream. We hope to be back before you know it. If the quality was fine during this stream and this was tolerable, we can continue to do it from this device. If not, I will have to relocate elsewhere, as my desktop is elsewhere. But it is not an issue if necessary. But you can find EngineeringRobo with the and the links down below. Check it out for free. At the moment, you're all coming here from our group chat, so you already know. You're already EngineeringRobo members. Shout out to y'all. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream. Hopefully it was valuable. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully my explanations weren't ridiculous, and we can come back to it here, checking out crypto in the crypto sphere. But this has been me looking at cryptocurrency. Look at this. Look at this transition. And good day, good night, good evening. Calm breathing.